Hey everybody, welcome back. We are doing another chit chat get ready with me today. So it's actually Friday afternoon. Yes, this was the situation at work. It's been a long week. We're actually going to go down to the beach tonight and hang out with Melvin and Jess and my sister and her boyfriend, and their boys are going to fish all week long, and me and Jess are just going to hang out and do whatever. But I felt like sitting down and just decompressing after a very long work week and chit-chatting with you guys. You guys seem to really enjoy these videos, so I thought I'd keep them going. I know there wasn't one that went up last week. It was more of a makeup playtime, which if you haven't seen it, I will put it here. I used the ABH Riviera palette and some Inglot shadows and Buxom shadows and ColourPop, and I think there was even, I don't even know, there was a bunch of shadows in there. So yeah, definitely go check that out if you want. But you guys really seem to like these more kind of just hanging out, talking about whatever's on my mind kind of videos, having a discussion down below. So yeah, that's what we're going to do today. And we're just going to continue the series of using the palettes I mentioned in Great Summer Palettes That We've Forgotten About video, which I will also link up here if you want to see it. So I think this in order is the peach palette is next. So yeah, we're just going to play around with this today and just probably do a fairly simple look. I don't have a lot of fallout with this palette, so I'm going to do my face first. So I did prime, which I forgot to film, with my Maybelline Master Prime by Face Studio Blur and Illuminate. So I did do that, and I'm going to try something new that I usually don't do. I'm going to do some color correcting. Hair's crazy. I'm going to do some color correcting before I go in with my foundation, because I do get a lot of sallowness around my eyes, dark spots. So I'm going to go in with the Ulta Beauty Color Correcting Liquid Concealer. This is waterproof in the shade Yellow. I used to do this all the time with, I have some like around here. I just want to brighten up some of these dark spots. I used to do this all the time with the NYX HD concealer, and I got out of the habit, and I don't know why. But we're gonna play today. And guys, I'm probably gonna film some videos down at the beach. But I don't even know what makeup I have down there, honestly. It's like I took it down there and I forgot what I have. I'm just gonna take that on my eyes. Well, I'm just using my Real Techniques blending sponge. So how are you guys doing? I hope you guys had a good week, a good weekend. I know these usually go up on Sundays. It just seemed like a good time to hang out and, you know, kind of decompress and just enjoy life and a little bit of makeup. All right, guys, I'm gonna go in with my Juvia's Place. It's I Am Magic Concealer in Bali. And I don't need much. I'm just going to take a tiny little bit, and if I need to, I'll build it up. I'm really bummed about how the CEO of Juvia's Place has been acting. Just really, really unprofessional. God, a little bit of this goes a long way online. And it just stinks. It's like the CEOs, you can't conduct yourself in a somewhat professional manner, probably best to not be online. It's one thing to go on and be classy and be blunt and professional. You can be professional and still be blunt and to the point and honest and passionate, but I don't know. It's like I just want a brand out there that's not having issues. And I feel like it's like the unicorn of the makeup industry is finding a brand that has not had any kind of craziness. You have to be like, well, can I talk about them on my channel? Should I be supporting them? It's like a field mine, I feel like. It's a field of landmines is what I'm trying to say. But, because I love Juvia's Place. I love their products. I love their eyeshadows. You guys know I talk about them all the time. But when people act shitty like that, it's like, not a fan. And it's like, you know, it's such a fine balance too, because with all this cancel culture stuff, it's like if somebody makes one mistake, it's like, oh, they're done. They're not a human being. You can't make mistakes. One thing I will say about this foundation, it tends to really fall in the creases on my forehead a bunch, but I have pretty damn full coverage, and it wears really well on me throughout the day. I definitely went in with a lighter layer. I have built this up more, but it's not that serious today. I do want to lighten up some of the matteness, or kind of even it out a little bit and bring it back to life. So I'm going to take my, this is the Wet n Wild Beauty, another brand that apparently is having issues. I was not, guys, you know how much I love Wet n Wild. And you know, if they're going to sell in China, that's one thing. I don't particularly appreciate how they responded to questions about if they were selling in China or not. I feel like they were really kind of tiptoeing around the issue. And it's just, you know, if you learn anything from all this mess that's going on, it's like, just be forthright with your consumers and let them make a decision. You know, people are not stupid, and you can't please everybody. And I feel like these brands hiding behind all of these half-truths are just getting themselves into more trouble. It's like, if you would just come out and address the situation up front, be up front with your customers about it, your pain and suffering would be half of what it is. It's like when these brands just try and dodge the truth because they assume people are stupid or don't care. It's a problem. Like, people are not stupid. You know, people are very aware, and social media has made people very aware of the world around them. And I just feel like it's better to come out and say, I talked about this, I think, and, you know, when I talked about Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics specifically, it's okay to mess up. I mess up all the time. People mess up all the time. Businesses mess up all the time. You know, over like important stuff involving people's lives and money, and I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying we're human beings, and we fail, and we are not infallible. I'm just gonna wet my sponge down a little bit with some Fix Plus. And you know, it's okay. It's okay. And it's so much better to come out and admit that you've made a mistake than pretending like one doesn't exist. And that's what I don't get. I don't get that kind of mentality from these companies. I'm just going to take a little bit more of that foundation. I just want to build it up on my nose. So, I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. It's like, I know I have my feelings about certain brands and people, you know. Let's just put it not nicely, I think Kat Von D not vaccinating her children is irresponsible and selfish and just downright idiotic. And that's just how I feel about not vaccinating your children. And, you know, I'm all about your rights and the rights of others, and I'm very much a firm believer in individual rights. But when your individual rights are infringing on somebody else's right to, you know, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, then it becomes a problem. And I'm just going to take some of my Maybelline Fit Me pressed or loose powder. I love this stuff. And you know, it's just, I think it's ridiculous. Do I have her products and like her products? Yeah. Will I continue to use them on this channel? Yeah, because I have them. You know, I have them and I've spent money on them and I enjoy them. Will I buy any more of her products? No. Don't think so. You know, but, you know, it's like it's this weird conundrum of, well, I have these products and people out there have these products, and, you know, what if, you know, as a YouTuber, it's like you don't want to co-sign on somebody's nonsense, you know, and you got to really keep your integrity and, you know, stand up for what you believe in. And I fully believe that, you know, which is why I wouldn't be buying any more of her products. But what about the people out there? The only eyeshadow they have maybe they were a hardcore Kat Von D fan, And that's, you know, maybe that's the only makeup they have, because that's the only makeup, you know, they could only afford to save up for certain things. And so that's the makeup they use, because that's what they have and that's what they have available. And they're not like some of us, or a lot of us, who are very privileged to have multiple products from multiple brands, to where we can say, well, I'm canceling this brand now and I'm not going to be using them. You know what I mean? And not everybody is that lucky, you know? Not everybody has that option, and that's totally fine. You know what I mean? It's like, so why would I throw away those products, or not use those products, or not mention those products? You know, it's like with Jeffree Star. You know, I got the Beauty Killer palette and I really liked it. I reviewed it. I did a Fresh Fierce Fabulous with it. I took it down because at the time I was just really not happy with what he was saying and how he was treating other people online. He was telling people to kill themselves. He was telling people to, you know, shut up and mind their business and not essentially critique his products and focus on being moms. And, you know, and I had a big problem. I had a big problem with that. Why am I doing? I'm going to finish the rest of my face. I'm just going to use my L'Oreal Glam Bronze and my e.l.f. Complexion brush. You know, and so I took those videos down because at the time I did not want to show myself as condoning his actions or his behavior or the things he was saying to people. It just wasn't sitting well with me. So I took them down. Did I throw away that palette? No. You know, did I destroy it in a fit of rage? No. Because I understand that there are people out there that don't share my opinions. And, you know, they're coming from a different viewpoint, and they're, you know, so why would I destroy something or get rid of something, or, you know, destroy something or throw something away when there's so many people out there that don't have it, that would enjoy it, you know what I mean? And so with that palette, I knew I wasn't going to be using it, just because at the time I was just not feeling what he was standing for on his platform. I just found him to be really hateful and not okay, and I wasn't okay with it. So instead of throwing that palette away, hi PETA, I gave it away to a coworker's daughter who was a big fan, you know, who couldn't afford that $45 palette. And she really appreciated it, and I was happy to give it to her. And I don't feel like that was me looking at her and being like, oh my God, yes, I endorse Jeffree Star too. It was just saying, you know, you have a different perspective than I do on this situation. So if you're going to enjoy this product, I want to, you know, I want to give you the opportunity to enjoy it. Guys, I apologize. I feel like this video is getting really rambly. All right, guys, on my Your Cheeks But Better blush video, one of you guys said that you love the Too Faced Baby Love. Mira, I'm going to say her name wrong. Mary Mariella. I hope I said that right. She was like, oh my gosh, I love Baby Love. And I was like, you know what? I do too. It's such a pretty blush. I have all of these. I don't know why they discontinued these blushes, because they are so good. But this is definitely probably the most used in my collection. So we're using this today. And I'm just going to take this on a Real Techniques blush brush. So yeah, it's like, you know, I can have feelings about people and you can have feelings about people, and we may not agree, but I'm never going to deride or, you know, be derogatory towards you or not follow you because you support somebody I don't necessarily agree with. I just find that to be very, very childish. I feel like, you know, why can't we just let people like who they like, and as long as you are, you know, it's another thing if you come at me and I say I don't like Jeffree Star and you're like, well, you're a dumb bitch. You know, I've had that happen before. And I was like, oh, really? Okay. I can tell you're a sane, logical individual with rational, emotional, and thought process, emotions and thought process. So I'm going to listen to what you say and be offended. You know what I mean? There's difference in that. But I follow a bunch of people who love Jeffree Star, who use Jeffree Star. I follow a bunch of people who use, I don't know, what's it, Kat Von D. I mean, it's like, at what point do we just say, you know what? You're a good person. I appreciate what you stand for. I understand you have a different view on this company than I do, and it's okay. And I can still watch you and support you, or I can just walk away and be civil. You know, why does it have to be this like, well, you support this person, so you're the devil? I don't understand that. Let's go with the pink theme. We're gonna stay with the pink theme. I'm gonna use my Fresh Bloom All Over color in Peony Blend from Clinique. I'm just gonna use it on that same blush brush. We're just gonna kind of do a blush topper today. And yeah, I just don't understand that. It's like, you know, so if you see me using controversial brands, it's like with Juvia's Place. It's like, do I want to continue supporting them? I don't know. If she can't get her shit together and just be more professional, you can have your opinions on things. And, you know, for the record, I've followed Juvia's Place on social media for a very long time. Okay, I can't help it. I love this highlighter, so we're gonna use it again today. And this is just a BH Cosmetics 128 brush. Maybe not on all social media. I didn't follow them on Twitter, but I follow them on Instagram, and I've always seen them support a very wide variety of skin types and influencers, big, small. So, you know, I understand they haven't really been about the larger influencers. I don't know, I don't see really any other large influencers other than Nikki Tutorials talking about them. So I don't watch Jackie Aina, I don't watch Alyssa Ashley. So I don't know the whole story when it comes to that. So if that's how they were treating those people, then, you know, bad on them, because that's not a very professional way to act. And it's not a good look. You know what I mean? If you're gonna, and, you know, I'm probably gonna get crucified for saying this, but I'm not a big fan of Jackie Aina. I feel like Jackie Aina likes to listen to Jackie Aina and nobody else, you know? And I'm not talking about the point she's made. I'm just saying she just, from what I've seen of her interactions with other people, is that if somebody approaches her in a manner that is anything other than crawling up her butthole, she's not a fan of that kind of situation. All right, I'm gonna go in with this palette. We're just gonna jump in. All right, I think I want to go in with Puree, which is this shade right here. We're just gonna take this on a Wet n Wild fluffy brush. And I'm not saying that because I disagree with some of her points. I think some of her points are very valid. I think she's also made some very ignorant statements and excused it with, well, I'm black, so I can say what I want. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think if you're a person, you know, you need to just be respectful of all people, you know what I mean? And we could definitely get into a conversation of, you know, people's perspective based on systemic racism. God, this got like serious. Sorry guys, I'm just, you know, I don't know, I'm just rambling. It's like thought of, you know, string of consciousness. You know what I mean? And I'll discuss that with people all day long because, you know, I want to understand. I want to understand, and I want to understand where people come from and their perspective, because even if I don't agree, it doesn't mean that I can't understand and have an appreciation for what their feelings are based on their own personal experience. You know, just because I don't agree doesn't invalidate somebody's experience, and vice versa. All right, I'm going to pick up a BR250 brush, and I'm going to keep this more on the cool side today, I think. Yeah, we're going to go in with Charmed, I'm Sure. So, you know what I mean? And I feel like she's not a person that could sit down and have a conversation of any kind of meaningful impact with somebody that didn't agree with her, or with somebody, and that's just how she strikes me. You know, and I, you know, like I said, I watched her for a little bit, I was subscribed for a little bit, and that's just kind of the vibe I got. And, you know, there's plenty of people like that. I guess I just brought it up because she's involved in this, the Juvia's Place thing. Like, I can't speak to Alyssa Ashley because I don't, you know, like I said, I don't watch her. you know, but I don't know. I just like, I like watching people who have adverse opinions to me because it make me feel uncomfortable. I like watching people who make me feel uncomfortable because it means that I'm getting out of my comfort zone and I'm having to assess somebody else's point of view in a way that makes me vulnerable to really critiquing my own experience and point of view. Does that make any sense at all? I hope I'm making sense and not just rambling. Like, because when you get out of your comfort zone and you allow yourself to listen to what somebody else has to say, whether ultimately you end up agreeing with them or not, it forces you to look at what you have said, what you've experienced, your perspectives based on those experiences and actions, and, you know, and to look at them critically. And it's an uncomfortable thing. And it helps us grow as people. So, you know, for example, okay, let's just get real. I'm just opening up myself to all kinds of criticism right now. I have said things in the past that, while in my mind and when I was saying them, I didn't think they had any kind of racial impact, because in my mind I was treating somebody just like I was treating somebody else, like I would treat anybody. But the way they came across for people, especially who didn't know me, they came across as really ignorant. So for example, I posted on my Facebook one day, and for those of you who have watched me for a while, I'm very independent when it comes to political leanings. I think the two-party system is going to be the downfall of this country. I think Republicans and Democrats are essentially the same part, two sides of the same coin, essentially. And just a little background. So I lean very independent, and I like to think for myself. I believe in, you know, people should just be able to live their lives, let people do what they want to do. And, you know, just stay out of my body, stay out of my bank account, stay out of my religion, stay out of my marriage, stay out of my bedroom, you know, all of that. And so and I think, I can't remember exactly what it was in response to, but it was when I think it was when Obamacare was rolling out, which I had some problems with, because as somebody who, you know, has studied, I make it a habit to study historical patterns and things like that. I was really irritated by the whole Obamacare thing, because for me, it was set up with the intention to fail. I'm sorry, you guys are probably going to hate this video, but we're just going to go with it. Because for me, in theory, yes, it's a wonderful thing, but when you're setting up a healthcare system where people who, you're essentially relying on people who are in their 20s to pay for everybody else who is in need or elderly or unemployed, but then you don't make those people pay into the system until after they turn 26, I believe is what it was, then the source of the funds for that healthcare system you're essentially cutting the legs out from underneath it. Does that make sense? Like, it didn't make sense to me. And it was affecting my job at the time, and it was affecting my healthcare and the healthcare of a lot of people in the service industry at the time. Like, a lot of people were losing their jobs. They were getting their hours cut to make sure they weren't full-time, so that healthcare would then not have to be provided. I can't even remember all the details. And I made a comment saying Obama needs to stay on the basketball court and do something he's good at. Which, looking back, is, if you didn't know me and taking it out of context, it seems really ignorant to say. And that's not how I meant it, because I would say the same thing about Trump. He needs to stay the fuck out of the Oval Office and stay on the golf course and do something he's, I don't know, maybe somewhat good at, you know, instead of trying to run a country that I feel like is just way over his toupee. And if you're Trump supporters, I'm not hating on you. I just have I have an issue with his lack of respect for the office. And I felt the same way about Obama. So, that being said, you know, for me, just coming from me, I was just treating him like any other politician. I don't trust him as far as I could throw them. But I could see the way that it came across seemed really ignorant and really, if not racist, really prejudiced. And that's not how I meant it at all. You know, and so just outing myself. And looking back, I can understand that. It's like I'm somebody that didn't understand why we needed Pride or didn't understand why we needed Black History Month, because I was like, why can't we just celebrate everybody's history? Why can't we just celebrate everybody being proud of who they are? Because, you know, I came from a very, I don't even know how you would describe it. I came from, I guess, a very naive, looking at the world through rose-colored glasses, because, you know, I had friends of all different backgrounds and, you know, sexual orientations and religious beliefs, and that's how I grew up, you know. And that's not me saying, oh well, my friend's Black, you know. So I mean, it's just that I had friends who we were so different, and I was like, well, we can be friends. Why are we putting these differentiations to take us apart? Why are we trying to put ourselves in boxes so that when we look at somebody else, we only see them by one token thing? Like, why are we only looking at people and being like, well, you're gay and I'm straight, so we can't be friends. Or you're Republican and I'm Democrat, so we can't be friends. Or you're Black and I'm white, so we can't be friends. You know, so that's how I was approaching it, is that, you know, because really scientifically, different ethnicities exist, but there's no such thing as race. There's one race. It's the human race. And I believe if you read the Human Genome Project, and I'm not a scientist, I'm not a geneticist, I'm not an anthropologist, you know, so feel free to correct me, but I believe the idea behind that project is that I would have more in common genetically with somebody of a different race than within my own, because there has to be genetic diversity within ethnic groups to help prevent problems from inbreeding and a reduced genetic pool. Does that make sense? And so I would look at these things and I'd be like, why can't we just be all together? You know what I mean? And as I'm growing and watching people and listening to people who have a different view from me, while I understand that's the goal, and I want us to understand that things like race are a social structure, gender is a social structure, sex isn't. Sex is something that is biological, but gender is a social structure. Ethnicities, you know, the grouping of ethnicities create culture, but there is no separate race. You know what I mean? So, and that's how I grew up looking at these things. So it was hard for me to understand why Pride was needed, why Black History Month was needed, because even though that's how I want to see the world, and when I look at somebody, I want to see them for who they are, and I want to know their history and their experience and their thoughts on things, and I want to find commonalities, because in my opinion, that's the only way this world is ever going to get better, is if we sit down and stop seeing, well, you're this group and I'm this group, so never the two shall meet. Is to sit down and talk to somebody that you don't agree with, or that you maybe seemingly don't have commonalities with, and find out that you do. You have more in common with people than you think. I'm going to go in, I think I'm just going to go in with that same brush and go in with Bless Your Heart. Guys, I'm sorry, this has gotten so weird, but you know, it's just been on my heart to talk about, I guess, because I don't know, it's just like we become so reactionary and we become so black and white, and life is just not black and white. You know what I mean? There's a gray area. There's more gray areas in this world than there will ever be straight up black and white, good and evil, right and wrong. And, you know, and so I credit, you know, people making me understand, well, I understand why we need Pride now, because it's still looked down upon. You know, people have a hard time getting married. They have a hard time adopting children, when really, when you think about marriage is not a Christian institution, as people like to say. And guys, I'm a born again Christian, and so when people who claim to be Christian quote Leviticus at me when arguing against gay marriage, I'm like, you don't even know your own religion, so you can just take several seats. Anyway, that's a whole nother discussion. You know, and I understand, and now I understand why there's a need for Pride. They want to celebrate who they are. I'm just going back into that puree shade and just kind of toning this down. And they want people to support them, and they want to know they have allies. And same with like Black History Month. It's like, or Black Lives Matter. I didn't understand Black Lives Matter. And maybe it's because I didn't necessarily agree with everything having to do with the narrative behind it, but having some friends and sitting down with some women that I truly respect and admire, who are mothers, who worry about their sons leaving the house and driving around. I understand now. You know what I mean? And it's just something. I'm going in with a little bit of Charmed, I'm sure, which is the shade right here. And it's just a process. It's a process of saying, okay, well, this is how I feel about this, but I want to know how you feel about this, because I want to understand. I want to understand because I don't, you know, it's okay in this world to look at somebody and be like, you know what, I don't know. I don't know the answers. I don't know how to make it better. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't understand what is the right thing, what's the wrong thing. You know, it's okay to do that. And the best way to do that is to have those conversations with people and to put yourself in situations that are ultimately uncomfortable because they're challenging what you know, your perspective, your experience, your belief system. But that's what we have to do to grow as human beings. I'm going to take this is a BH Cosmetics V6 brush, and I'm going to go into White Peach. And, you know, so there are some channels that I watch that I don't necessarily agree with everything they have to say. I don't agree necessarily with their political beliefs. I don't necessarily agree with their thoughts on every topic ever. But I love watching them because they take me out of that comfort zone and they force me to look at a situation and say, how do I really feel about this? Knowing that even though I know my perspective and this is what I have known as true my entire life, but they believe something completely different and they have a completely different understanding of the situation that they feel is true, you know, and this is not a my truth situation, you know, my truth video. This is really trying to understand and get to the heart of why people feel the way they do about certain things. Because when we do that, that's when we take a step closer towards equality, towards just being people and being together and understanding that we are so much more powerful when we are together than we are when we're separated and put in these little collectivist boxes. And I mean, because essentially, I'm about to show you all just how much of a conspiracy theorist I am. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I have a severe distrust of government. I think it's a necessary evil, and I think the people running our government, whether they're on, no matter what side of the aisle they are on, I'm going to take Bless Her Heart just on a pencil brush and just take that right under the eye. I don't think they care about us, period. They care about themselves and staying in power. You know, which is why I don't support anybody who doesn't support term limits. Sorry. I'm sorry. It should not be a position for life. You know, and especially since apparently some of these senators and congressmen have been in their positions of power for decades and it's not getting any better. So maybe it's time to clean house, you know? So it's like, I won't support somebody. If you don't believe in term limits, I'm just not interested, because we have to limit these people's access to power. And, you know, another thing, we have to understand that these people work for us. People are our employees. And that's another reason why I talk about presidents or congressmen, or I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're a woman. I don't care if you're Islam or not Islam, Muslim or Christian or Jewish or gay. I don't care. You work for me. So if you're not getting the job done, I can't show up to my job and not get work done. I'd be fired. So why do these people get a pass? Sorry guys, I'm going in with puree on that V6. No. Yeah, on that V6 brush. I'm just going to smoke this out. You know, so, and that's how I view things. And sometimes I don't understand that even though I'm treating people equally in how I respond to them, not everybody understands that, you know, and not everybody knows me well enough to know that that's how I'm treating people. And it comes across in a way that is not helpful. Does that make sense? I hope y'all don't hate me after this video. I'm just trying to be honest and open and learn, because I mean, at the end of the day, that's really all we can do, right? I don't know if this eye look's doing it for me today. I need to do something to fix this. I'm talking too much. All right, I'm gonna go back in with Bless Her Heart, which is that that green shade on a BRC S52 brush. And I'm going to spray it down to try and get a little bit more shine out of that. So, yeah, so, you know, long story long. I'm just going to take that right over that. Oh, yeah, that looks better. You know, so that's why I don't, you know, and if somebody comes across kind of like how Jackie Ina comes across, to where I feel like I couldn't ask her a question and get a, you know, I'm not talking about going on, because she gets a lot of hate that's just not acceptable. It's not acceptable to go online and call somebody a stupid black bitch, or call somebody an N-word, what other, any kind of derogatory, nasty shit that these people say that is absolutely unacceptable. I feel like that should be forcibly sterilized, because you should just not be allowed to pass your genes on, inferior genes on, and propagate the problem. But anyway, you know, so I understand she gets a lot of hate, and I'm sure that's probably the source for some of her reticence to really engage with people who try and approach her in a respectful way, because I've seen people approach her in a respectful way. I've seen both sides of it, but she attacks people the same, you know. So like I said, maybe that's just a product of how she is approached online, whether it be right or wrong. But there are some channels out there that I absolutely adore. I'm going to go in, I think I'm going to go in with Luscious on. This is just a Essence of Beauty crease brush that really get me out of my comfort zone. And I'm just going to kind of blend that into Bless Her Heart. And make me question, you know, my own views on things. And so, you know, if I'm presented with information that makes sense, you know, I will change my views. Okay, I want this to be a little bit more pinky. I'm not sure how I'm feeling about this eye look, guys. I'm just going to go back in with that highlight, Sweetest Bling. So there are a few channels. Kimberly Clark is one. Kimberly Clark, I've said it before on this, I'm unabashedly a free market. I believe in the free market. I believe in capitalism. I don't believe in crony capitalism that we got going on now, but I believe in a free market, and I believe that is the absolute quickest way to freedom and equality and equal opportunity for people is a free market. Unfortunately, what we've got going on right now is it's a broken system, just like everything else that's going on in our country, you know. But she is not. She's very anti-consumerist. She doesn't like capitalism. And you know what? I adore her channel. I've collabed with Kimberly before. I think she's phenomenal. We did a really fun collab, but she's just somebody I respect. I respect her how candid she is. I respect how passionate she is. I respect how she is so willing to put herself out there and present ideas in a thoughtful, concise way, so somebody like me can come to her channel and take in that information, whether it be on white privilege or anti-consumerism or whatever it might be, and say, okay, this is what I agree with, this is what I don't agree with, this is what I don't understand, can we have a conversation? And that's such a beautiful thing. Another channel that I just started watching, and her channel name is Nappy Headed Jojoba. And I think her name's T, I think. I apologize if I get that wrong. Let me know. I'm trying to find her name, but I don't see it in any of her descriptions. But I found her video on colorism, which I will link down below. And it was a really hard video for me to watch, but it was very eye-opening, and it made me think about a lot of things, and it made me, the way she presented herself, which again is in a very passionate, concise, educated way, just made me want to learn more and stick around and be in that place of discomfort so that I can learn and grow and understand somebody else's perspective, so that when I interact with somebody who is not white, who is not a woman, who is not whatever it might be, that interaction is going to be more meaningful, because I'm going to be sitting down and really trying to listen and understand and have a better perspective, hopefully, of where they're coming from. Guys, I feel like I'm being so preachy, and I'm really not meaning to be. It's so important to me that we come together to make things better. And that sounds so hippie, smoke a bunch of weed, peace circle nonsense, but it's really how I feel. And I think about these things and I worry about these things because this idea that we are so separate and is going to be the thing. I'm just taking more of that blinging on. I'm just putting it right underneath my brows. Is going to be our downfall. You know, we are each other's strengths, and we are how, you know, I don't know. I feel like I feel like I have such a naive view on it. It's like, on one hand, I'm such a cynical person because I look at the world around us and I'm like, man, we are on the endangered species list for a reason, you know? But then I look around and there's so much good in this world, and there's so much love and positivity and just good people out there, you know, that it's hard. It's like I tell you guys all the time, it's really easy for me to be cynical, and I love coming and really interacting with you guys because you guys remind me of how much good there is in the world. You know, it's like that, what is it, that line from Contact? Anybody else see that movie? Jodie Foster. It was a book by Carl Sagan. It's an amazing book. And at the end of it, you know, when she's talking to the alien guy and he's like, human beings are something like, you're capable of such horrible nightmares and such beautiful dreams, or something like that. And it's so true. There's so much good in humanity. There's so much to make you just have faith that we're going to get through this and get better. And then there's so much that's just so disheartening. And, you know, it's so refreshing to me, and it's so exciting to me that there are people on this platform that I feel like I could go and say, look, I don't understand your point of view, or I don't agree with your point of view, but I want to talk it out and I want to get better, and I want to understand, and I want you to understand where I'm coming from so that we can come together and be better. You know what I mean? And I know it sounds so kumbaya, but it's like I have to hold on to that, you know. It's another channel that kind of gets me out of my comfort zone. Smoky Glow. Hannah, I think that's her name. You know, she's, I think she's in school for social work. And she just approaches things in such an unbiased and rational, well thought out way that, you know, she makes me look at situations that I thought I had nailed down. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe I don't have those nailed down. Maybe I don't quite know or agree, you know, maybe I don't quite grasp the situation and I need to look at it in a different way. Who else? Petty Paige. She just had a baby. She just had a beautiful little baby girl. So congratulations, Paige. That picture of her on Instagram, by the way, when she's in the middle of labor and her mama, she's crying, she's in the pool and her mama's right there. I'm like, oh, that's love right there. But, I love her channel. First of all, I think she's really funny. I think she's very funny. I think she's very self-deprecating. I think she's very self-aware. And I think she makes me see things from a different point of view, which I always appreciate. You know what I mean? She is a black woman and I'm a white woman. And, you know, even though, like I talked about earlier, we probably have more in common genetically than me and Daniel do. You know what I mean? She has a different experience and she has a different point of view. And, you know, the things she's experienced in her life have shaped her views in a different way than my experiences have shaped mine, you know? So in the laughter and the fun that is her channel. You guys stop being little assholes. Thank you. You know, I feel like I learned something, which is why I really enjoy her channel. You know what I mean? Those are just some examples of some people that I watch that make me feel uncomfortable at times, but it's a good thing. It's something that, you know, being in a comfort zone is boring. It's stagnation, and it's, you know, when you're comfortable, you're not getting better. You know, I don't know. Guys, I feel like this was such a serious, like, chit chat, get ready with me. And I didn't mean it to be that way. I guess these things have just been on my heart. And I know I can come to you guys and be honest with you guys. And you guys will give me the feedback and give me honest feedback, which is pretty damn amazing. All right, I'm gonna go in. I feel like my face is still a little light, so I'm gonna go in with a little bit of my Wet n Wild Photo Focus pressed powder in Warm Light, just to tone everything down. Yeah, but I need to finish my eyes. I'm all over the place today. Ugh. I'm gonna go back in with my e.l.f. brow gel in medium, just to kind of give myself some volume there. But yeah, I don't know, guys. I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from, and I just want to be really candid with you guys, because it's important. It's important that, you guys take time out of your busy day, away from your family, away from your jobs, and your free time to sit down and watch me talk about makeup. And that's something that is very, very humbling for me. I'm just going to go in with my my Urban Decay Waterline Pencil in Walk of Shame. It's very humbling, and it's very, I want to say it's like overwhelming, but it's very humbling. And honestly, I don't know why y'all do it. I'm glad you do it, but I don't know why you do it. And I have so much respect for y'all's opinion and just the positive people that you are. You guys make my life more positive. You're just a positive thing in my life, which is why I continue to come back and do this. My hair's bothering me. Oh, by the way, I went darker with the hair. It's still the purple and the blue, but we went more blue and navy this time. I don't know. What do y'all think? I'm playing mad scientist in my bathroom. We'll see how it goes. For lashes today, I'm going to do my Ico Lash Alert on the top and my Wet n Wild Mega Length on the bottom. And I just want y'all to know, how I feel about things, and feel like, again, I've said this before, I love doing this, and I think makeup's such an amazing thing, not because it's so uplifting, but it gives people from so many diverse backgrounds and opinions and, cultures and sexual orientations and political affiliations the opportunity to come together over something as stupid as a lipstick. Because at the end of the day, it's just makeup. You know what I mean? But if we can find that one little piece of common ground, what else could we find in common? If we all come together to a video, and everybody on this video loves makeup, and you can come with that understanding that everybody here has something in common, then how hard is it to take that next step to find something else that we have in common and start focusing on differences rather than, commonalities rather than differences. And I want to be just honest with you guys, because I don't, I'm not a perfect human being. Like I said earlier, I've said things that, whether I meant them to be ignorant or not, came across as, have come across as sounding really ignorant. And that was not my intent. And even today, as I'm looking back, I know that's not what I meant. And I don't feel like I'm being ignorant, because I'm just essentially treating somebody as I would treat anybody else. But I understand how somebody would see that and be like, this bitch is a racist. You know what I mean? And it's just, that was not my intention. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to give y'all an example, because it happens. Everybody, we all say things and do things from a perspective that, in our minds is just our perspective. And, we're not being rude, and we're not trying to hurt anybody else, and we're not, we're just passionate about something, and we're sharing an opinion, and we don't understand that somebody might view it in a different way. And we just have to find a common language to speak to each other, even when we don't agree. And I worked, for those of you who don't know, I worked at Red Robin for like 8 years. I was a bartender, and I was a trainer. And as corny as that training material was, there was something that was in that training material that has stuck with me to this day. And in it, it says, here we speak to be understood, and we listen to understand. And I love that. And I think that's such a powerful thing. It's, because when we speak, we need to not just shout what we believe at each other. and just shout our experiences. We need to speak in a way that is going to induce other people to want to understand where you're coming from. And we need to listen with the intent of understanding, not just with the intent of preparing a clap back because somebody believes something different than you do. All right, I'm going to go in with my Milani lip pencil in Satin Rose. I'm just going to go back in with Friend Like Me from MAC because this is like my new favorite lipstick. I'm going to take something just a little bit darker. This is one of the Lasting Finish lipsticks from Rimmel in number 8. I'll just take it right in the center. I'm going to pull a Raw Beauty Crispy. All right, I'm just going to spray everything down. You know what? I'm going to use this one. I'm going to use my Cucumber Photo Focus Setting Spray today. All right, guys, so that's just the look using the Sweet Peach palette from Too Faced. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope this was not like a really bummer of a video. I guess this has just really been on my mind and my heart to talk about. And I just, you know, like I said, I want you guys to always understand that when you come to this channel and you come in a respectful way to everybody here, we can talk about anything. Because like I said, the whole point is that we all have something in common. We all have makeup in common. So let's use that as a diving board to learn something about somebody who has a different experience than you and understand them a little bit better. And again, whether or not you agree or, you know, you do agree, you can find that respect and that understanding and stop seeing somebody, you know, all of us, we can stop seeing people as a thing, as a Democrat, as a Republican, as a straight person, as a gay person, as a black person, as a white person, as a Christian, as a Muslim, as a Jew. I mean, just whatever it is. It's just that is, if that is something I can do for one person on here, then that is, I couldn't ask for anything better. And that is really, really just my hope. And, you know, and I'm not trying to be Mother Teresa and say, oh, I've got a makeup channel, I'm going to bring the world together. It's just, I've been given a platform and I've been very blessed with this platform and with the community that we have here, that if we can do some good and in this toxic, hateful environment that is the beauty community on YouTube right now, I mean, that's just, I don't know what else I could ever ask for. That would just be, I don't know. I would just feel very lucky and happy and feel like we've accomplished something. So guys, I hope this was not too preachy. I hope you guys don't hate me for anything I said. You know, everything I said is just, I'm trying to come with some humility and with some understanding of things about myself, good and bad, that so I can get better. You know what I mean? That's all I ever want, is to get better. And be comfortable saying that I don't know the answer to something, or be comfortable saying that, you know, maybe I was wrong in something, or that I'm right in something and I feel this way about something and it's okay. And that's what I believe. And I feel that I'm right. And I'm comfortable in sharing that in a respectful way. And I hope, yeah, I just hope you guys like this video. I'm so sorry. You guys are probably going to be like, no more chit chat get readies with me after this, because you're like, nope, never again. But anyway, let me know what your thoughts are down below. I'm always interested to hear what you guys have to say. I know I say that all the time, but I really am. I love hearing from you guys and talking to you guys. You guys just make me feel like the luckiest person on YouTube. So I hope you guys have an amazing Sunday. I love you guys so much, and I will see you next time.